So what's up, guys? Welcome to this Instagram Live. And this is a very special Instagram Live because we have someone who's going to be talking to us from the US of A's about fitness. And I'm not alone, of course. I've got my co-host here, my buddy, my brother from another mother. He is Mr. Stefan Chiang. Also goes by the name of Stefan Munch. This is the Joseph and Munch show.
So in this show, he is known as Terence Joseph, right?
Right. And he's Stephen Munch. So basically, what do you know about fitness?
I know that nothing about it.
You know nothing about fitness?
Apart from eating right, sleeping well.
Okay, eating right, sleeping well.
Eating right, sleeping well, and that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So I did tell Kevin, in one of our conversations that Malaysians are the most, the most obese, the most overweight, perhaps the fattest people in Southeast Asia. And you and I may not fit that definition, but a lot of people do in a certain way. It's because of our food. It's such good and rich food. So what do you think is the issue? Is it just the food, or is it also the attitude?
Well, we as Malaysians, we would like to think that it's just our food. We would like to think that our food is the best in the world. Right. I think that's what every country thinks of their own food, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
I think we're biased that way.
Since Malaysia is famous for being, like what you said, the most obese country in the world, so
not
I
the
guess
world, just Asia.
Regionally, right?
Yeah, regionally.
So I guess every country can't be right about that, right? So I guess it's got nothing to do with the taste of food then. Probably it's our...
Nothing to do with food.
Yeah, it's our choice itself.
And also I noticed that we have a lot of fitness fads. We have a lot of products, we have a lot of things that are being sold and pushed to us at any given point in time. And I want to know, have you purchased anything online that's supposed to make you look better, feel better, lose weight?
Okay, I would, the day that they invent the pill that makes my tummy look flatter.
I think there already is something like that out there.
Get slim fast pills?
Yes.
You
didn't know about this stuff?
No, it's too much work. That's still too much work for me, man.
That's still what? Just taking a pill and putting it in your mouth is too much work for you?
It's still too much. No, I mean, apart from that, they have a strict regime, right? You're not supposed to eat this, you're not supposed to eat that.
Okay.
You're supposed to take that sachet at certain point of time.
And that's too much work for you?
Something else, not eat anything else for the rest of the day. I don't know, they have a special formula for that.
But that is too much work for you.
That's too much work. It's another excuse.
How do you look like this, man? You look good for someone who thinks that is too much work for you.
Because the table is hiding the belly.
I mean, okay.
We have a nice table, and apart from the table, it has black tablecloth, so it's a perfect cover.
I'm wearing this jacket because the weather is cold in here. I don't know how you're surviving with that t-shirt. But there are a lot of fitness fads that don't just affect us in Malaysia, but they also affect everybody around the world. And my guest at this time, Mr. Kevin Meier, who'll be joining us shortly, is a man who's come up with the concept of pure bullfit. This is basically bullshit in the fitness industry. And he's taken on some big names whom we hear about a lot in this part of the world as well. And he's exposed them to a certain extent. He's even shown us what's wrong with their approach, and he's provided the right approach. And I'm just going to introduce him to those of you who don't know Kevin. Kevin is someone who really puts his heart and soul out there. You can see every video he does is very well thought out, well planned, and his ability to really dissect the issue is something that really attracts me to him, and I'm sure all his followers as well.
All around the world.
So he's got like 75,000 plus subscribers on YouTube, and he's got a huge following. So I'm going to bring him on right now, and I'm going to introduce you to him. Let's see if we can get Kevin. Here he is, the man!
Fully imported all the way from US of A.
Just one second, I got to grab those headphones.
Should we wish good morning?
Kevin is in the comfort of his home right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I certainly am.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. How the heck are you doing, man?
We're good. We're good.
We're doing good, man.
I was listening as you got talking, and your co-host pretty much has it all figured out.
That he does. That he does.
I'm just making excuses, not to go into any kind of regime. It's just being lazy, I suppose. Right?
Sleep and nutrition really is the bulk of it, is the vast majority of it.
You didn't ask him to break it down. He has a very different concept of sleep and eating right.
Yeah, what most people is I sleep when I'm tired, I never get as much as I want, and I eat what's in front of me right now. That's not the kind of eating right that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it.
Okay, got me.
So, Kevin, let me get started by reintroducing you to
What's going on, Connor?
here. We just want to find out a little bit more about what you talked about the other day. You said that you were in the Marines, you were disabled, and then you were in extreme pain, and you got back on your feet, and you decided to change your life. What gave you that realization, man? What gave you that realization at that point in time? Because in a bed of thorns, you're in pain. What gave you that motivation to lift yourself out of it?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to die. So getting really, really transparent, really real with it. Being in constant pain wears on your emotional state, and I'm very, very lucky. So I have a collection of minor disabilities that add up to a whole lot of pain. So I've got a degenerative joint disease. I have neuropathy dysfunction. I've got 5 herniated discs. I've got a couple of muscle tears and things like that individually you could overcome. And apparently collectively you can overcome them as well. But I was in really bad pain every day. And I have, to be very upfront with you, a family history of addiction. So I am terrified of taking painkillers. I don't take painkillers. I won't. And seeing what it did to my older brother and my younger brother and things like that. So I had to find a different way to deal with the pain. And with it constantly wearing on your mental state, you have to do something or you'll go insane. So after about 6-8 months of trying, nothing, I went to the company that I was working at that had a health and wellness program. And I said, hey, I can't do much. I can't really bend over. I can't really squat. I can't do this, that, or the other thing. And, but I can do a little. So help me, please help me. And he told me, F you. I don't know if I can swear on your program, but what he said to me was,
go right ahead.
He said, fuck you, grabbed me by the ear and drugged me over to the squat rack and assessed my form. And I didn't know this at the time, but I was very, very, very lucky, as I have been at every stage of my life. I accidentally fell in with a world-class strongman coach who teaches in that sport, who just happened to also be teaching the health and wellness program at Blizzard Entertainment, the video game company that I was working at. So over the next 2 years, he, having back issues himself, taught me how to work around them, taught me how to train intelligently, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I needed it, and it became my way of coping, my therapy. So after that happened to me, I kind of wanted to give that to other people. I wanted to do that for other people, and that's what we've done. Is we started a channel. I'm figuring it out. I had no idea how to do YouTube. I had no idea what to do. But we've been figuring out, like my first 5 videos were on my phone, and now I run an entire channel on an iPad, so it's not like you need a whole lot of technology to do this. And yeah, we just passed 80,000 subscribers, and I'm blown away because it's only been a year.
Woo! Yeah. And I don't know if you knew this. Did you know you have subscribers all the way over here in Malaysia?
I do. People are really great about reaching out to me. I try to answer every single comment, every single message that people send me, which takes a lot of time, but I try to do it, and I'm still at the point where I can, so I'm going to continue to do it. It's really cool to hear from people all over the world, and I currently have online coaching clients from about 12 or 13 different countries.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations, Kevin. That's amazing.
Exactly. And you do it all by yourself, right? 80,000 subscribers. You do all the answering and...
well, that part's easy. They just watch.
Easy.
The hard part of it is actually the community. Because, as you pointed out, I like to call it the Bullfit the creams, the pills, the ineffective methodologies, the turn yourself into a fat burning machine overnight, all of that crap. I like to call that out because it's not helping anybody. It's just making certain people money. But I've also got a community where the mission is to move the needle towards a healthier society, and that is the underlying goal behind all of it. That's what we're trying to do with everything. So we're going to continue to do that. So it's a balance of providing good information and also pointing out this is crap. This is absolute crap. And trying not to get caught up in too much of the drama in the process. But I'm sure, I have no doubt, we'll touch base on that.
I see.
There is some of that going around in the fitness YouTube world right now as we speak. But before we get into some of that, I want to ask you a question that I think should be quite obvious. What gives someone like you the right to question someone who's had like 20 years in bodybuilding, or 25 claims to have 25 years in bodybuilding, or someone who's been here a lot longer than you? What gives you that credential that's necessary to call them out in their bullfit?
That is absolutely great question. And I ask myself and check myself all the time, because these people have levels of education sometimes that are well beyond my own. And they certainly have experience that's well beyond my own, but that's where everybody should be questioned. We should be analyzing everything that we take in. We should be critical of it. We should evaluate it, and then we should reevaluate it. And I've always encouraged people to do that with my content. And I've flat out asked my community to hold me responsible when I'm wrong. And if you've watched every single one of my videos, which I don't expect anyone should have, but those who do see when I'm wrong, the very next video that I put out is me correcting that. And I think that that's important. I don't think that there's enough of that going on. So what gives me the right? I'm a rational human being with brain cells who either benefits or is hurt by the information that's put out there. So I think it's all of our responsibility. When somebody reaches out to me and they're like, I think you're wrong about X, Y, and Z, my first question to them isn't, well, what credentials do you have? My question is, where are you coming from? Why do you feel that way? And if they're simply regurgitating what they've heard from their chosen source, then that means less to me than, well, I was reading on monthly applied strength sports, 16 studies that say that you're wrong, and here they are. My answer to that is always, okay, I'm going to go read them. Or even when somebody's calling out somebody that I support who puts out predominantly good information, I still listen to them. Nobody can say I've shut down a conversation and refused to listen to them, because I will. Fat acceptance movement reaching out and telling me that I'm a bigot, that I hate fat people because I want people to live healthier lives, and I try and give them that information. I listen to them for months as they threaten me or call me names or post pictures of my wife online to try and make me be quiet and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a lot of bullcrap. So, oh no, you have no idea. A guy threatened to kill.
No wonder you're handling the current drama so well.
Yeah, like people are like, "How are you staying so calm?" I'm like, "This literally doesn't matter. This does not matter."
Wow, I mean that's a conversation that we're not having so much here in Malaysia about fat shaming to a certain degree, because people understand that if you are of a certain weight and you're above normal, you need to kind of get back down. Hey, who is this we have joining us here?
Ooh, that was Clover and Herschel. They're enthusiastic.
I rarely see them in your videos.
I actually had somebody complain. They were like, you need to put a warning on your videos when your dogs are going to be on them, because I hate dogs. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, come on. No.
Don't watch my channel.
Okay, well, I can see a lot of people are easily triggered online. Perhaps they're more easily triggered online than they would be offline. I don't know. Maybe that's
very
just
true.
The case of consuming too much content online. So the next question I would have for you is pertaining to our Malaysian audience. We're being fed a lot of videos, a lot of information with a lot of very good-looking people taking certain supplements or using certain creams or certain exercise machines or devices
devices
that are supposed to transform our physiques to look like them in a certain amount of time. They even have like the audacity to go money back guarantee in 2 weeks and stuff like that. So what do you say to products, services, and pills like that?
So if somebody tells you the answer is behind a pay gate, they're usually lying to you. If it involves a secret, if it involves a proprietary blend or any of the rest of that stuff, it is almost always assuredly complete crap. The truth of the matter is...
Can we back up a bit, Kevin?
Yeah.
Can we back up a bit, Kevin? What is a proprietary blend?
A proprietary blend is a combination of chemicals, herbs, and substances that they have trademarked so that they don't have to tell you what's in it. And they could say, oh, we're protecting our patent. That's how they hide it. But it usually serves to underdose or prevent you from knowing exactly what it is that you're taking. You just have to take it on faith that it's going to do what they say it does.
I see.
So it's like 11 herbs and spices.
That sounds familiar. Well, we learned a new word, proprietary blend.
Yeah, it just means that they own it.
Right.
So how do you know that it's bullshit? It's all bullshit. You don't need any of it. All of it makes a very small difference. The stuff of it that does work, the pill, in fact, that can make your stomach flat that you were asking about earlier before I came on.
Does it exist?
It does, but it's not very effective. It's not very effective. It's called yohimbine HCl, and it is a processed version. They use hydrochloric acid to process yohimbe, and it does interact with your subcutaneous fat tissue, and it does mobilize it, meaning that it puts it into your bloodstream. But to such a small effect, we're talking like 4 or 5 pounds over the course of a year. Do some extra sit-ups, save yourself the money, because that's going to cost you like $30 to $50 a month, right? And you're going to burn 4 pounds over the course of a year, and you're also going to get hypertension because it causes massive spike in your blood pressure.
So do you want all that?
Nope. So another excuse not to get the pills. All right. Thank you.
Exactly. Save yourself the money. The other thing that people don't realize is that exercise, as far as body composition shift, as far as losing weight, exercise makes up about 5, maximum 10% of the energy that you expend during the day, especially in a place of the world where you don't get to be as lazy as you do here in the United States. And if I'm a patriotic human being, I love my country, but we're lazy compared to the rest of the world. We don't have to spend 12, 14 hours a day working, moving. Our non-exercise activity, getting up, getting to where we're going, doing things that we have to do during the day, grocery shopping, farming, the whole 9 yards, accounts for almost double what our exercise does. So we have to treat our exercise as the stimulus that tells our body how it needs to change, but our sleep and our nutrition are the things that make the biggest difference. Even steroids, if you're not sleeping, you're not going to grow. So if you're not prioritizing sleep, if you're not prioritizing the fuel, the protein, and the fats to sustain your hormones and to give you enough amino acids in order to build that muscle, you're not going to have lean mass. Your size might change, but it's not going to be the way that you want it to. Just
Kevin,
1 second, guys. Just 1 second.
Yeah,
My dogs are freaking out.
So I was going to tell Kevin this, but I'm just going to tell all the viewers this. Stefan's promised me he's going to go do some push-ups.
Yeah.
So he's going to go get to that.
Just to get into the theme of the day, right?
Yeah.
Just to get into the theme of the day.
Yeah,
Fitness.
He's going to go do some push-ups.
All right, fine.
So I'll wait for Kevin to get back. And if you just tuned in, we have Kevin Meier, the man behind Pure Bullfit, who's joining us right now. And he's
Sorry
back.
about that. I'm back.
No worries, bro. So Stefan stepped out to go do some push-ups. That was something he promised me. I'm going to keep count on me doing. And that's 2. Okay. So
he did 2?
He did 2, yeah. 2 with good form. Not bad, bro. Tummy hit the floor first. Oh, no. Fail. 3. Okay, so we're going to get that recorded and post it up. If you guys want to see Stefan do push-ups, just give me a like, and I'll make sure we'll post the video up. So let's get back into talking to Kevin. Kevin, you are someone who's done some serious lifting. I mean, I see the amount of weight that you lift, and I go, wow, that is incredible, man. How did you get to that level? Because you did mention that you have some disabilities that add up and cause you a lot of pain, and you also say that you are in constant pain still to a certain extent. But with all that, you're still able to lift that amount of weight. And I believe you did that with a T-shirt saying "Strength over Abs." So talk to us about that.
So Strength over Abs, that's a merchandise from one of my friends and somebody that I take a lot of inspiration from, Omar Isuf. He's another content creator. But that's the point. The amount of weight that I can lift, if people take a look at that and they say, wow, that's amazing, you guys are getting the wrong message. Because I am not in any way special. I'm not genetically gifted. I mean, I got good hair. I'm tall. But as far as like lifting and fitness and things like that, anything that I'm accomplishing, anybody who puts their mind to it can accomplish. That's how amazing our bodies are. Despite the collection of challenges that I have, I don't have it as bad as other people out there, and they can still accomplish amazing, great things. Casey Mitchell is also a veteran. He lost his leg. He's missing a leg. That is very important to understand my next point. As in, he has one, I have two. He deadlifts hundreds of pounds more than I do. I think that he can deadlift over 700 pounds with one leg. One.
Wow.
Like, we are amazing. So how did I get there? Through consistency and by training with specificity. Fitness is simple. It's not easy. If you want to get more endurance, you have to challenge your cardiovascular system. If you want to get stronger, you have to lift heavy things. How you go about that and training intelligently is more complicated, but the basic principle that it is founded on is if you want to be better at a thing, you need to do the thing. So I focused on lower repetition, heavier weight training with a whole lot of care towards making sure that I'm protecting the areas on my body that are hurt. And I did that consistently over the last 6 years. And like I said, I was very lucky to accidentally fall into a situation with one of the best trainers in the world. Scott Brengel of East Coast, West Coast Strength and Conditioning, is one of the most intelligent, hardworking, incredibly capable teachers that I've ever had in my life. The man is reserved and really humble, and you wouldn't know it, but he trains champions. The very first world's strongest woman at the Arnold Classic was Leifa Ingalls. She trains at ECWC and used to be one of the people that taught me. She's an amazing human being. She can deadlift more than I can. I can deadlift like 530 pounds. She could do that for 5. Right? She's amazing. So she's hitting like 227 kilograms for 5 reps. That's unnoticed.
Okay, I don't want to even share my PR right now because when we talk about fitness here in Malaysia, I think the conversation is still at its infancy, and a lot of people can get too carried away with what they see.
Yeah.
It will appear that people with more defined, chiseled aesthetics are able to sell more programs and are able to convince people better. And you call some of them out pretty regularly. Do you get any feedback from the people you call out?
Yep. A couple of them have threatened to come kick my ass. I'm still waiting. In a response video, I put my zip code out there. If anybody wanted to come see how beautiful Maine is, they're invited to come up anytime. But so far, no takers. It's weird. The people that I call out have very passionate followings. And that's good. What I'd like to see the people who have those followings do is pass better information, since they have such a profound effect on their communities. I don't think anybody is perfect. I think all of us are either more good than we are bad in the level of information that we put out there. And our motivations oftentimes determine what that is. So you take a guy like Chris Heria. He is in amazing shape. The guy looks great. Even if you don't like tattoos, the guy looks great. I'm going to give him that.
And he's a national athlete, right? He represented America. Yeah.
So good. Crap information. Absolutely garbage. Does not know what he's talking about. Puts it out so that it can be consumed so that he can make money. Got a problem with that. V-Shreds, Vince Sance, who is, I think, who you were just thinking of, was the swimmer. Incredible shape, but he's telling people that they can eat 2 candy bars and drink a bottle of soda before bed and still have 6-pack abs. That's irresponsible. And part of me, now I shouldn't say stuff like that. It makes me mad enough that I want to do something about it, but that's not responsible, and that's not the advice I should be giving people.
But you are doing something about it. You are doing something about it. You're talking about it, and that really helps people. I mean, if not for channels like yours, we would be totally sold without any differing opinion on whatever these guys are selling. And it's not just the guys; it's also the girls, because you know, guys.
Yeah, the belly creams and the booty bands and all that shit. I don't want anybody to take what I say as gospel truth. I want people to use it as a motivation to question for themselves and to learn how to question for themselves, because there isn't anything that I learned that is that complicated. I went to college for a kinesiology degree, and I have certifications in the field, but I'm going to tell you, I didn't learn anything in those classes that I couldn't have learned just watching YouTube and just reading research articles for myself, just checking the information that I was given. I've actually learned more that way that anybody can do for free than I did in college. And I'm only a journeyman, right? If I'm able to see your bullshit, and I'm only a journeyman in this, I'm not an expert. You don't claim to be an expert. You're bad. Your garbage is bad.
So that kind of brings us to a current controversy, or rather drama that's happening in the fitness world. It's about Jeff Cavaliere. He's got 10 million followers, and all over the place, people are posting videos, reply videos, and talking about the guy. Now, I have no issue with the fact that maybe or maybe not he used fake weights, but I do have an issue with the channel that broke it, simply because that channel seems to be dedicated to destroying him, and that's all the content that certain channel has. So I don't really enjoy content like that. When you go to a certain channel, you want to actually get something and not just find literal hate, so to speak.
So there's 2 thoughts on that. One, I don't have a problem with the channel that you're talking about, and I'll let you decide whether or not they're going to get a name. But I don't actually have a problem with that. Like, I don't even have a specific problem with the fact that it's dedicated towards taking down one person, if you truly believe that one person is a huge issue. It's the way that you go about it. And Officer Bubbles in here said something about almost as irresponsible as having noobs do 10 by 10 at 78%. I love
That's
Jeff.
Probably the channel.
No, Officer Bubbles is not. I love Jeff. I love his content, but Officer Bubbles is right. That's not good advice. And we need to be able to say shit like that. And I said it in my last video. And it was that kid, the guy that we're talking about, who the hate channel, the call out channel, who brought that to my attention. And in that conversation with him, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's not great advice, especially for deconditioned people, the whole 9 yards. And that's why I take the stance. I've always taken the stance, no matter who wants to represent me any way that they want, because it's convenient to their narrative. Question everybody, right? Now, we're going to have biases towards the people that we support. I called out that 5 reps aren't magic, and I said Mark Ripito, who's a very well-known, very well-renowned strength coach, is irresponsible in the things that he said. People hit me up in my DMs and threaten to come kill me. That's that tribalism that I think is absolute nonsense. And I don't think anybody is immune from that kind of, having that kind of effect on the community that follows them. I want people to question the things that they see. I want people to question the things that they hear. Do I think just because some definitively, in my opinion, bad advice has come out from somebody that I follow, that nobody should follow him? No, I think that's stupid. I think that's short-sighted thinking. I think that is just you taking an opportunity to say that your feelings about an individual were right, and expand them and expound upon them to an extent that is not reasonable. But should we question everybody? Yeah, we should question everybody. We should absolutely be questioning everybody, especially the people that are benefiting directly from us following them or supporting them. That's why I don't sell programs. I give them away for free.
Yeah, you do. But to kind of also check my bias, I support your channel, so I'll probably be saying a lot of nice things about you. But in that same light, even though you support Jeff and you did say that you checked your bias in that earlier video, even before that video, you did call him out on the use of the door for, home workouts.
Oh, the pull-up thing? Yeah, don't do that to your doors. But
there you go. See?
So nobody, everybody's like, oh, you called out Jeff. Whatever. The other guy that I said in that same sentence, Dr. Helms, is way smarter, and way more knowledgeable, way more involved in the research than Jeff, and he did the same thing, right? So that's two of the smartest people that I know. Two of the people who are most concerned with people's health out there gave what I view as bad advice, and you have to be able to say, hey, I think your stuff is great, but don't do that. Like, you need to be able to do that.
So there's also other issues with drama on YouTube Fitness. What are your thoughts on that? When someone puts out one video and then suddenly you see so many other videos about that same topic, and there's a severe loss of content. Everyone's just commenting on that one particular issue. That's what
a lot of people are here for. So there's a lot of people that are here for the entertainment value. I would have to have my head all the way up my butt not to be aware that my most popular videos are call-out videos. I've been really straightforward with people who've asked me directly that I don't like that. I wish that the videos that were getting attention were the ones where we're talking about mentality and we're talking about training within your recoverable ability and stuff like that. I wish that those were the popular videos, but they're not. They want to see me be sarcastic and they want to see me call folks out, and that's not my favorite content to make. Yes, I'm very good at making people look stupid, but that doesn't feel good, and I don't enjoy it. But people do. They want this content. The guy who helped me get started, Alan Roberts, started as a roast channel. People really didn't like it when he switched away from roasting people. The videos that made my channel grow as fast as it did, the 2 roast videos that I put out early last year that they're still talking about, that Alec and Kiri is still complaining about and still making little response videos to, like, talk about hurt feelings. Whereas these same guys who said they're going to come kick my butt, and I'm like, okay, cool. Don't let that stuff get to you. But that's what people want to see. And that's what they're tuning in for. If they're being honest with themselves, it's not all good information. They want the drama. So it turns into a feeding frenzy like piranhas. There's a little bit of blood, a little bit of meat in the water like sharks, and they all go after it because they're looking for those views. It's not lost on me that the video I put in about John Meadows and us supporting him after his heart attack got like 6,000 views. But the day that I put out a video about Jeff Cavaliere and the drama, I got like 60,000 views on that video. It's not lost on me. I don't like that. That actually frustrates me about the communities in general, the people who want to consume the content.
I watched every single video you put out, and I enjoyed the John Meadows video. I thought that was something you really should do more of. I mean, maybe there are people out there who need our help as the community, since we're all in fitness in one way or form. I'm more of a consumer. You're more of a content creator.
I'm a
I think
consumer
we should
too.
do more for the community. Yeah, totally. You definitely are, because I've seen you actually grow from strength to strength. Talk a little bit about that, because strength is something we think is, I don't know. Sometimes we just boil it down to things that you can get out of a bottle, or things that you can get out of a protein shake, or eating a certain way, and just cutting down on certain foods. But what is the definition of strength for someone like you who has progressed through injuries, through multiple shots of pain in your life, and then now reaching a level that you can be proud of?
Well, the competition is with Yester you. Now that sounds really cliche and really cheesy, but your fitness and strength is inertia. It's momentum. It's going to fade, and how long it lasts depends on how much effort you put into it in the beginning, right? You can keep it coasting. You can keep it moving deep, deep, deep into your life, but eventually that inertia is going to run out. Gravity is going to win, and we're all going to join in the dirt again. I have a dumb goal that when people ask me this question, my dumb goal is to hit 97 years old so that I can be present for the 300th anniversary of my country, the United States, because I was born just after the 200th anniversary. I want to be at least 97 years old, and I want to be able to stand and watch the fireworks. So taking care of my body is one of the things that I want to do. The other part of that is why am I strength training? Because those don't necessarily go together. Because, you know, a lot of heavy lifting damages your joints and makes your later years more difficult. Is you have to find the thing that you love doing. I've tried calisthenics. I did it in the Marine Corps. I did it in the military for 10 freaking years. I do not enjoy calisthenics. I hate them. I hate running. I hate running. We were in the Los Angeles International Airport, and somebody a couple of terminals down pulled out a handgun and fired 2 shots, which is uncommon, but it didn't turn out to be that big a deal. Nobody got hurt, right? But everybody's running, and I realized that I was walking. I was walking away from the area, and I stopped and I asked myself, why the hell am I walking? And then I said, oh yeah, I promised myself I'd never run again. Like, that's how much I hate running.
Oh boy.
So,
well, you certainly found something that works for you.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've got another strongman watching us right now. He's out in the States as well. Russ, he's a strongman and he competes, and he's been down here to Malaysia.
That's awesome.
Speak. Yeah. So thank you for watching, Russ.
Say hi.
Talking to you about. Oh hi. You're a lot quieter now. Hello.
This is Clover.
Hi, Clover. How are you doing?
Oh. All right, go on.
Sweet.
All right, you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you after the incremental increase in your strength, and how that's going to play out as age sets in, because longevity is something of an issue as well. Here in Malaysia, I think the life expectancy is 70 for men and somewhere along 67 for the ladies.
Really?
Talk to us. I think that's about the same kind of ratio that we have as most Asians. But when you talk about longevity and fitness, people get this idea that as I get older, am I going to be able to do the same things that I could do when I was younger?
Oh my gosh.
You're in your 40s, I think, right now?
Yeah,
So,
41.
But you're a lot stronger than you were in your 20s.
Yep.
How long do you think you can keep this going? Can you keep this going into your 60s, 70s, 80s?
So to the level where I'm squatting 500 pounds or more, or 227 kilograms or more, or I'm continuing to bench 180, 190 kilograms. No, I don't think that that's reasonable, but people do it. You take a look at Louis Simmons, like the godfather of powerlifting over here in the United States, and he was still squatting well over those and benching and pulling over those numbers into his 60s, but it was hyper focus on the sport of powerlifting that allowed him to do that. And if you take a look at the health in the rest of his life and the rest of the areas of his life, he wasn't doing so great. He's not doing so great. When he walks, you can see it's a struggle. I don't want to struggle to walk. So eventually there's going to need to be a change where I stop focusing on, and I said this year was going to be the year, and so far it hasn't been, where I was going to stop focusing on the high intensity or the high weight, and I was going to find a moderate weight that I can live with that is still satisfying, and use that for this next stage of my life, where I just focus on being really strong, but not as absolutely strong as I possibly could be at my age. It's addictive. It's a difficult thing to let go of. You start negotiating with yourself. Yesterday, I went outside and I said, I am going to bench press 315 pounds, or, I don't know. It's like
50 kilos.
Yeah, it's like 164 kilos, something like that.
Yeah.
I am going to bench press just that. What happened? I went out and I did 50 pounds more than that raw because everything was feeling good. So I did like a set of 10 with 164 kilograms or 315 pounds. I was like, yeah, that was awesome. Wait a minute. If I could do that. And then I paused.
What else can I do?
Yeah. I paused rep 365 and then I put 380 on the bar, and it was one of the fastest reps I've ever had at that weight. And I had to stop myself from putting more weight on the bar because I was like, this is not what I came out here to do. This is not what I said I was going to do. That temptation is always there. I always want to pull or push or press or squat as much as I possibly can. And it is a constant battle with yourself to do what you know you're supposed to do. And that extends into fitness for everybody.
So do you think that, do you think that your presence on YouTube and, you know, the need to continuously put out content also motivates you to keep doing stuff like that?
No, I don't feel a need to put out content. If you take a look at the last 2 months, with everything that's going on here in the United States and the civil unrest, I've put out maybe 3 videos. I don't feel compelled, like I have to put crap out. I think that's where people go wrong. I feel like you take a look at other content creators that are jumping on the drama. They're like, oh, here's an opportunity for me to get views. I don't rely on the revenue that I make from Pure Bullfit's YouTube channel at all. I don't count on that. I just invest it back into the channel or invest it back into the community. For instance, and this is not a brag. I got a guy. I use a local, an American, small business owner for all of my merchandise. Right now, every time somebody buys a shirt, I don't take a single dollar of that. That goes to his family because the pandemic has hit him hard, and I want to make sure that they're okay. I don't advertise that since we have a small viewing right here, and I don't think that's going to result in me getting a lot of requests. When I have slots for my training, because I only have so many, 1/3 of those are for free. That I identify people who can't actually afford for training, and I do. This is not about freaking money. And I still charge less than half of what other people charge, right? I just have to justify the expense. When you're worried about how much you're going to make from this, that's when you turn into a piece of shit. Or excuse me, that's when your morals are compromised and you start making decisions that you shouldn't make. If you're worried about how big your community is, that's what's going to happen. If you happen to get big and you're still putting out good content, you're an exception. But you're going to get highly scrutinized, like Jeff, we were talking about before. Saying he's not a strength coach is a lie. Saying he's not the person you should go to if you want to be as strong as possible is absolutely reasonable. I use his programs, but when I want to get stupid strong, I call Scott. I call Leifa. I don't call Jeff. When I want to get ripped, I look at his programs. But to go so far as to say he doesn't know what he's talking about and to say that he's a fraud or to say that he's not a strength coach, which is an accreditation that he actually holds, the title strength coach, those things, that's where I draw the line. That's where you're getting into this messy area where you're trying to cut somebody else down so that you can take the space that they once occupied for yourself. And when someone is willing to go to those lengths in order to make that space for themselves, I suspect everything that they have to say. And I'm not going to accept that they're doing it for the right reasons.
Another question that probably came out of the whole trauma thing, since we went back there a little bit, is also tied into the earlier point I made about longevity and performance. Is using, well, I wouldn't say performance enhancers. TRT is hormone replacement. Is using hormone replacement something that's constantly talked about in the States? Over here, the conversation is just starting, and it's still a big stigma for men who have, well, real medical issues to even talk about taking those things.
So testosterone is an incredibly important hormone to men, and it's unfortunate that we treat each other like that, because I think if we had less of a stigma, people would be more honest about whether or not they're using it. I'm going to tell folks right here, right now, if we get to the point where my T levels are below the recommended, I think it's like 200 parts per million or something like that, whatever the doctor says, hey, this is too low, this is going to negatively affect you, I would go on TRT, and I wouldn't judge myself or judge anybody else for that. But we have this industry, unfortunately, this kind of like shadow industry where you can say, oh, I don't have enough T, and then you can get effective levels that would mimic the effects of steroids. And then on top of that, they don't talk about whether or not they're doing it, and then they give unreasonable expectations for what you can achieve. I don't work that hard at looking good. I don't. But I look pretty good for a 41-year-old. I don't think that people putting unreasonable expectations about how you should or could look at a given age with a specific work volume is the correct thing to do. So anybody, and I mean anybody who's out there who's being disingenuous about what they're using to look the way that they do, that should be pointed out. They should acknowledge that, and they should absolutely. That's something that people should know, and it doesn't end your influence. You look at Steve Cook; he used steroids for years, and then he finally admitted it, or he used something. I forget specifically what it was. People still follow him. People still listen to him. it's not going to end you. Just be freaking honest about it, and let people know that that's part of how you looked as amazing as you did, and maybe their expectations for themselves shouldn't be that high, shouldn't be expected to be 5, 6, 7% body fat year round and still, pushing 315 pounds on the bench press and stuff, because you're hurting people. There was a college girl who killed herself by cooking her organs because she took, I think it was clenbuterol. I'd have to look into it specifically, but it's a fat burner that mobilizes fat. Well, when you mobilize fat, you generate heat. That's how it works. Most people don't understand that we are creatures that exist. We are burning alive right now. Every time you mobilize fat triglycerides into your bloodstream, it uses oxygen to burn that, to create energy. We're on fire right now, and we will be for our entire lives. Mm. So when somebody accelerates that process using a chemical that wasn't designed for that, it can do serious harm. And this young woman took 2 or 3 times the recommended amount because it never occurred to her that it could be dangerous. And her body temperature rose to a point where she cooked her organs. And even though they identified it while she was still alive, no doctor could save her because the process had already been started. She died. And that's what I worry about. When we set these unreasonable expectations for what people can achieve or should be achieving to have value, we are killing kids. We're killing their self-esteem, we're killing their motivation, we're killing their dreams, and sometimes we are killing their bodies. And I do take that very seriously.
And yes, Stefan, it looks like, that question you had about the pill, I think just totally removed the idea of ever going near a bottle from your mind. So welcome back, Stefan. How were the push-ups, buddy?
Oh, hands are sore, man. I don't think I can drive back.
So how many do you have on record?
Shift stick, dude. Huh? About 30. That's an achievement for me.
It's an achievement. 30? Really? You did 30?
Yeah, 30.
I have my doubts. But anyway,
without pills.
I've been approaching this conversation from someone who's actually started some fitness movement in my life a little bit, and looked at my diet a little bit, and been motivated by people like Kevin a little bit. So from someone like you, who you self-profess to be a non-fit,
non-fit.
What kind of questions do you have for someone like Kevin?
Okay, what should be the best reason that I should start getting, into a fitness regime? What should be the best reason for me?
He's never really worked out in his life.
As in hit the gym type of fitness,
So you're asking for a reason, which means that you're ultimately asking, how can I stay motivated to continue to engage? Is that fair? Okay.
Correct. That's very fair. Yes.
There's
because
no such
currently
thing.
I'm totally not motivated at all to hit the gym, that kind of thing. I wouldn't mind going on a bicycle, riding around town, having some fun, getting some fresh air, but I do not find a reason to hit the gym and carry up some irons at the moment.
I think his question is, should I start strength training? Is that the only way to get really fit?
No. So we've take a look at the Olympians, the original Olympians, not since 1904 or whatever, or 1894, whenever they came back. Take a look at the people that the guy that ran 2 marathon, right, 26 miles. The Spartans, they worked, they lived their lives, and they were incredibly fit, incredibly tough. If you look at the Japanese fishermen, they've got legs like tree trunks. Right? Why? Because they stand in a position where they are constantly half squatting and they are pulling those nets out of the water. And they got just these massive, well-developed legs. So what's the motivation besides dying?
Good one.
Living better. But here's the thing. Effective fitness is not about motivation. It's about establishing the habit. Motivation is fickle. It will leave you. You're not going to be motivated all the time. You have a job.
Right.
I'm assuming you have work that you are obligated to do every day. Okay. Do you want to?
No.
But you do?
So I still,
Well, okay.
Your answer.
Okay. You got me there. You got me there. Good one. Good one.
You want to eat. You want to have a roof over your head. You want to have a better quality of life. So you work. It's the very same principle.
Because I want to be fit, so I do the fitness regime.
You find one that works for you, I think.
You find something that's tolerable, because sometimes it's not about, like, I don't like conditioning training. I don't like getting my heart rate really high and then keeping it there for a while. But I do it because it improves my quality of life. It's not that I want to have a certain look. It's that I want to be capable. And in order to do that, we have to pay for that. But instead of paying money, we pay in effort. The best way to handle it, though, is to establish it as a habit, not to give yourself this external reason that means I've got to constantly engage in this, or I'm not going to get what I want. So if you're constantly thinking about that, it becomes a source of dread. Instead, do one damn thing. You did push-ups today. Be okay with that. Make sure that you do push-ups every day. And when that becomes a habit, when engaging in that physics, add a set of air squats. And once that becomes a habit, add a set of sit-ups. And within 2 or 3 weeks, you're doing air squats, sit-ups, push-ups, and toe touches every single day. And that may not sound like a lot, but it's more than about 70 million people in the United States are doing every day or every other day.
Kevin, you just answered my,
You just continue to build on that until it becomes a habit, until you need it. I had a very rough day yesterday. I work in a group home for the acutely mentally ill. They are often volatile and violent, but it's important work, and I had a hard day. When I came home, I kissed my wife, I gave her a hug, and then I went outside and I bench pressed, because that's what I needed. I didn't used to need to bench press. I don't particularly enjoy the feeling of having several hundred pounds resting on my chest and the possibility of crushing myself and dying. Intellectually, that sounds like a really stupid thing to do to feel better. But it becomes such a habit and such a part of your life that you interpret the small successes or the exertion as the reward itself. And once that has been translated in your head as the reward, as feeling better, you'll find that it is much more easy to stay active. And also, unfairly, unfortunately, when you look better, people treat you better, and you're gonna experience that. When you're healthier, things hurt you less. You get sick less often. You recover faster. You feel better. If you have a significant other, your sex is better. That's a real thing. I've been out of shape, and I've been in shape, and I can tell you it's a lot better when you're in shape.
Good one. Not a good reason.
Every single aspect of your life is improved.
Now, Kevin, I guess you just answered my second question, which is, what should people like me do to start off our regime? Because I'm sure, I would like to think that I'm not alone. We have some new viewers that's going to be watching this video about us that we did right here today. They're new to the fitness regime. They probably, like me, we just work, eat, and sleep and repeat. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. We don't have any fitness regime at all. So what advice do you have for beginners like me, non-fits like me?
I would say first thing in the morning. I would say first thing in the morning, do that one thing. Do that daily minimum that you've given yourself.
The push-up?
Yep, if that's where you start, fine. If it's chair squats, if it's wall push-ups, meaning that you can't push up off of the floor, you're pushing against the wall. If it's going for a 20-minute walk, if it is doing some sit-ups or doing yoga. Yoga is amazing, by the way. It has been great for my bad joints. It's been great for the herniated discs in my back and giving me stability to protect my spine. People look at me and they're like, "Oh, there's no way that 260-pound, 6'3" guy does yoga." I think I'm 2 meters, 2.1 meters. I don't know how that works. Is it 3 feet?
I mean, we understand.
I can't do it.
6 feet. Yeah, we got you.
I tried to figure out the conversions. I'm not gonna be able to do it. Our stupid standard method. Like I just start the day with that.
Okay.
It's the same way that if you're eating, start with the macronutrient that you need the most. If what you're trying to do is build lean mass, make sure that your initial meals during the day, not because of special timing, but because of prioritization to make sure that you get it in. Make sure that your meals are protein heavy.
Okay, that's a thing for Malaysians because we have this diet that's comprised of a lot of gravy, and that's the essence of our food is rice, and then we have lots of gravy servings. We have this unique delicacy we call roti canai, which is basically flour, kind of cooked in oil. And then we have nasi lemak, which we proudly market as the world's healthiest breakfast. But if you ask anyone who's had nasi lemak, it's like not the best way to start the day, but it tastes so damn good. How do you tear yourself away from food that defines you, Kevin? I mean, I'm Indian by racial composition, and I love my Indian food. It's banana leaf, it's curry all the way.
And we're sure that you had your favorite food before you started your fitness thingy.
How do you tear yourself away from the things that define you food-wise?
This might surprise you. I don't. I don't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to be miserable. You just have to be reasonable with the amount, right? So if I want pizza, and I often want pizza, I will say, okay, I'm going to have 2 slices of pizza, and I'm going to eat the rest of the day in accordance with that. I have a total amount of intake that I'm supposed to have to sustain me, and I stay within that, and that doesn't mean that I can't have foods that I enjoy. But one of the things that you'll find is as you're focusing on incorporating the foods, it's working in the foods that you're supposed to have, you'll find that you start to enjoy those better. One of my favorite meals right now is quinoa, which is a grain, which most people think tastes like dirt, on a bed of broccoli with some light Italian dressing. It's amazing. I love it. But when I was eating 2 Big Macs a day, literally 2 Big Macs a day from McDonald's, because I was bulking, back in that phase, if you gave me quinoa, I would have spit it out. But your taste changes a little bit. You learn to enjoy things. You learn to enjoy how you feel immediately after the meal as well, as opposed to while you're eating it. And I think that that's a focus a lot of people lose track of, is there are foods that you eat that are really rewarding while you're eating them. But there are also foods that you eat that are really rewarding immediately after you eat them, because you feel energized, you feel alert, you feel capable. And learning to focus on that feeling can be a really good way to not eat as much of the stuff that you're craving. But I don't think you're going to live a satisfying life if you divest or completely detach yourself from the foods that identify you and your culture and are very much a part of your daily life.
Yep, and going back to Jeff's cheat meal, which is 1 slice of carrot cake a year, I think that's ridiculous. I cannot do that, man. I will surrender all ammunition at the door. There's no way I'm going to have just 1 piece of my favorite cheat meal a year.
Can I say something else about Jeff?
Yeah, sure.
I don't believe you only. I don't believe it. I don't believe he only has 1 slice of carrot cake a year. I don't. I love the man. I think he's an extremely generous human being, and I have witnessed his acts of generosity with my own eyes, and I know that he's a good person. All this other stuff aside, I know that he is a very good person. But I saw how he ate that piece of carrot cake that we gave him at Athlete Next Live. I saw how much he enjoyed it. I don't think there's any freaking way on earth that he doesn't have. He doesn't have one about a month. I don't believe that crap. I don't know.
Okay. There is another thing I want to ask you about food, Kevin. You talked about healthy bulking in one video, and you incorporated just slight minor changes, which increase the overall intake. Here in Malaysia, the idea of bulking is just eating whatever you want and then kind of shredding it all later at another point in time.
Yeah, you guys are about 20 years behind in the ideology of bodybuilding. All right,
Kevin, I'm just going to hold you there for a minute because we have like 19 seconds in this portion of the interview. I'm going to quickly call you back after this in just a short minute. Give us 10 seconds. Here we go. We're going to have Kevin Meier back in this live video with us shortly.
There
we go.
He is.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, we're getting used to this whole going live thing. The earlier interviews that we did were recorded. So when we left off, we're talking about food still.
Yeah.
And you talk about bulking in a different way than what I'm conditioned to hearing about. Bulking here is just, putting on lots of size with whatever food you enjoy eating in whatever quantity you deem necessary. But the way you describe healthy bulking was kind of revolutionary. Can you
not even
shed
really
some more light on that?
So it's not revolutionary. I think what happens is that in certain areas, a particular part of the world will lead information. For literacy and art and things like that, it was Arabia back in the day, and everybody came up behind. And I think in bodybuilding, not to compare it to literacy or art, but I think with bodybuilding, most places in the world are about 20 years behind in thought process of the United States, because it became big here and it became really important here. And one of the things was, in the off season, you bulked. These guys went from like 100 kilograms to 140 kilograms, and then they would cut down and cut down and cut down. And what they weren't, openly acknowledging at that time that we understand now is they were using a lot of chemicals in order to facilitate that process.
Right.
You can get a lot of muscle mass by significantly overeating and giving your body the stimulus, working out really, really hard. Mm-hmm. You can absolutely do that. The thing is that's not great for your health in the long run, and it puts a lot of stress on your body as far as like blood pressure and things like that is completely unnecessary. Whereas if you're not in a specific time frame, like building for a show or a contest, you can take a much more gradual and intelligent approach. And if your weight is stable, meaning however much you're eating is keeping you at about the same weight, eat a little bit more and give your body the stimulus in order to say, I need more muscle tissue. So strength train. And what that does is your body stays at more in line with what it's able of producing lean mass-wise, muscle-wise, and less of that ends up as fat because it's just excess intake. And whatever certain people with certain diets like carnivore diet want to suggest, if you eat too much protein and you don't utilize it, you're still going to get fat. Like that happens to everybody. It doesn't matter what your diet is. If you eat too much, you get fat. And that extra fat doesn't do anything. It doesn't provide power. It negatively affects your health. It gives you sleep apnea. You can get diabetes and the whole nine yards. So why risk that if you don't have a compelling, financially driven reason to do so? So I say add an extra 150 to 200 calories a day. Do so in a fashion that is with a specific food, and treat it just like a supplement. So if you take supplements like creatine, you take that every day. We'll take your 1 ounce of walnuts every day. That'll give you 170 extra calories, some extra fat, some extra protein. Boom, it's done. And that way you can track progress over time.
So which do you advocate, really? Like staying at the same kind of body composition and weight all year round, or, fluctuating that up and down?
I'm going to go with what is it that motivates you? So do you like being strong in the winter and being shredded in the summer for going to the beach and stuff like that? If that's your lifestyle.
We don't have that, so.
Right. Well,
we don't have some.
So when folks have a specific goal, I think that should drive it. If your goal is health, your weight shouldn't be fluctuating up and down yearly. Right. It shouldn't. You should stay relatively around where you want to be. But life happens to everybody. You're going to gain weight, and sometimes that sticks around if you don't do anything about it, or you're going to lose weight. Back in 2017, I was going through a very intensely personal and difficult part of my life. And I dropped from 250 pounds to 228 pounds. I wasn't trying to. I was stressed, and it was eating my body. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to get a hold of that. That doesn't mean I looked really good at 228. I looked really good for my age, but I didn't get there in a healthy manner, and it's not where I wanted to be performance-wise. So I slowly put that weight back on. It took me about a year to go from 228 to about my comfortable and happy weight of 242, because I did it intelligently. And when I did it that way, I looked just as good at 242 as I did at 228 pounds, even though there was a 10 kilo difference between the two. And I think that what people should be doing is with their health in mind and what their goal is in mind. So if you're a power lifter, a slight bulk while you peak in training, and then you cut right before your competition so that you can be in your weight category, that's the way to go. If you're a bodybuilder, slightly more aggressive bulk than what I normally recommend for an average person so that you can build as much muscle as possible and then cut down for a show. Okay, fine, if that's your lifestyle. But if you're just a person, why are you doing any of that? Find a comfortable, happy weight.
Why? Yeah, I ask myself that.
Find a comfortable, happy weight. I think during this period of MCO, we call it movement control order here. I think in some parts of the world, it's just called a lockdown. We've had time to build that happy, healthy weight. Gyms were shut down, and today here in Malaysia, we are rejoicing. I don't know about you, but we're rejoicing because the gyms are open and we can finally get back to work. But of course, there's some restrictions. Can you weigh in on what we should be doing and should not be doing now that we've kind of let that whole process go for 3 months? Home workouts, definitely not really the same. So what should we be doing when we get back into the gym?
So what I did when I built a gym here in the backyard, because like I said, I still work with immunocompromised people who have their immune systems are actually suppressed by the medications they take to help them with their mental issues. So I can't go to the gym right now. I could. It'd be irresponsible for me to go to the gym and expose myself to a bunch of people and then bring that back to the clients that rely on me to protect them. So building the gym in the backyard was the way to go. And the way that I have re-engaged training is work sub-maximally. I started lifting weights again, but I didn't go to failure on any rep for the first 2 weeks. And I kept the volume well below at about 70% of what I was accustomed to doing before the quarantine, before the lockdown, or the movement control order, as they put it out there. And that allowed me to prime my body, my nervous system. It's not just your muscle tissue. Your muscle tissue may be prepared for a load that your nervous system and your joints are not prepared for. And what I'm unfortunately seeing a lot of is people's tendons, ligaments are not prepared for the weight that they want, that their brain and their muscles want to use. And they're ending up with a lot of these joint injuries that are going to keep them out of training for a lot longer. So I would say go in, do about 2 to 3 reps less than you think you can. Let that happen for 2 weeks. Be okay with that. Don't go ham as soon as you get back and try and max out everything, or you're going to tear something up and you're going to be out of training for 6-8 months. Now, after that first couple of weeks, telling your nervous system, telling your body, telling your metabolic systems, oh yeah, we're going to have to start doing this again. At that point, start ramping it up. Start taking it to the limit. Start pushing it as far as you can and work on your endurance, work on your power generation and all of that again. But you need a kind of like a warming up period.
Right. So give yourself about 2 weeks to kind of get reaccustomed to the iron and then kind of slowly build from there.
Specifically, if you're using resistance training, you should absolutely be listening to your body. If you're aching really hard the next day, not muscle soreness, but if your joints are aching, you're probably going too hard for what they're prepared to deal with. If you're vomiting after your workout, you went way too hard. Why did you do that to yourself? I know Arnold Schwarzenegger is famous for saying, if you didn't throw up, you didn't really work out. But this is why it's so important to verify and evaluate the things that people say, because even a famous bodybuilder, one of the most famous bodybuilders of all time, can say some really dumb shit. And that is...
If he had said that today, he would be on Pure Bullfit.
Yes, he would. I love the man, but yes, he would.
So, Kevin, when we get back into the gym, I have something a little selfish to ask of you. See, I've been compensating the gym with doing things that I can do, like just pull-ups, push-ups, running. I found a place that I can just run around. It's a very nice place. You should come. Bukit Kerinci. It's very beautiful. So I've been doing things which I normally wouldn't do, like just body weights and
Oh, I had to do too.
Just kind of compensating for what I couldn't do. And initially it was tough, but finally I got kind of used to it. So as I stand right now, when I get back into the gym, should I hit the legs first, or should I go with the chest first, or where should I start in the gym now that I get to go back into a place where I have all the strength training material that I need?
My recommendation is to go in and do 2 to 3 sets of a full body workout. See how that feels. If you go in and you try and focus on legs, you're not going to be able to walk for 3 or 4 days. If you go in and you focus on chest, you're not going to be able to lift your arms for 3 and 4 days. So delayed onset muscle soreness is most acute when we are just returning to exercise, or when we're trying something new for the first time, or we are brand new to exercise. And if you haven't had DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, in a while, you forget just how awful it is. But if you go in and you do deadlifts and squats because you're like, oh, I'm going to work legs when I get back because, you know, I'm not going to be that chicken leg guy. It's going to hurt every time you try and sit down and poop. Like, who wants to invest in that? It's going to hurt every time you try and get out of the bed, or every time, you know, if you go and you blast your chest and your back and you hyper focus on that, and you don't listen to leave some in the tank, and if you don't listen to your body, you're going to try and eat your food and you're not be able to get your fork to your mouth. So, I mean, that might actually be useful for some folks, but I don't recommend it for everybody. I would do full body for the first 2 weeks.
All right, awesome. And finally, Kevin, speak to us about the genetics of each individual, because we always say we have our own genetic potential. And I think, you know, people strive to outdo that with a lot of other substances, which they shouldn't have any business trying in the first place. Should we recognize our own body's genetic potential and kind of have a certain sense of complacency? Not that we don't want to push, but we should realize where we can actually go.
So there's actually some really interesting research on this. It was just published in Monthly Applied Sports, or Strike Sports, excuse me. It's a group of doctors and researchers who collect all of the studies that are currently out. They evaluate them and they put some information out. And genetics does play a role. But in my opinion, having read what I've read, it's an excuse. It's an excuse for people to get away with using things that they want to use and not admit to. So, oh, I just got good genetics. And it's an excuse for people to not try on both ends of the scale. Because while it has been effectively determined that your genetics does determine your potential, it's not the biggest factor. The amount of effort and consistency that you put in is the biggest factor in the results that you make. And none of us are anywhere near our genetic maximum. We're not anywhere close. Are you a geneticist? Either of you guys? I don't want to assume.
No.
Do you guys, are you exercise physiology researchers?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not either of those things. So I'm not going to be able to tell you what my genetic potential is, because I have no way to determining that. If I bring it up, it's just as an excuse. So we shouldn't focus about that. Don't worry about that. Find out what you can do. Answer that damn question. If you want to be motivated, if you want to be hardworking, if you want to be big and strong. Currently, what I'm doing is finding out, okay, I'm beat up. All right, I got some battle damage. Cool. All right. I wake up in pain every day. What am I capable of? I don't feel 41. I got a 26-year-old wife. I live an active life, and I'm stronger than most people. I don't think that I'm all that strong, but I'm stronger than most people. I was able to accomplish that not even starting strength training until I was 35 years old. I've only got 6 years of experience, and the first couple of years of that was me figuring things out as I go. I listened to the same idiots that everybody else listens to. I was led astray. I was doing Rich Piana feeder workouts for my arms, not knowing it was complete and utter fucking nonsense. We all do that. You're not anywhere near your genetic potential. I don't know why you're worried about your genetic potential. You're not going to find it, especially if you're stopping to ask, what's my genetic potential? Is this a factor in what I'm able to accomplish? Then you're already
I'll tell you why, Kevin, because every time an Indian guy hits the gym, we're always taunted by our small legs, no matter how much we lift. People say, look, dude, you got to live with it. That's the Indian drumstick syndrome. You have those legs, you can lift the horse, but you're stuck with that.
Some of that is true. Right? And I really think that people should be okay with that. So,
Yep.
Russians, Slavic peoples, they tend, not everybody, but they tend to have externally rotated femurs, which are not jammed up in the sockets of their hips. That makes them incredible, just like the Chinese, incredible squatters. That's why so many of the squatters, the best squatters in the world, are from those peoples. Us poor Scots-Irish people have these femurs that are just jammed right up into the socket, and we squat like crap. Our form looks like crap. That is a genetic thing that can be overcome. Do I use that as an excuse to say, well, I just can't squat. I'm never going to be able to squat. No, I'm still finding out how much I can squat. I now know that it is over 500 pounds. That is awesome. As a person with physical limitations, old, and I can still hit that weight, even though genetically speaking, I'm never going to be at the highest level. Who cares if you're at the highest level? Right. You're never going to be in the same room, or most of us are never going to be in the same room as these people who are finding out what humanity is capable of doing. That's not your job. Find out what you're capable of doing.
Thank you so much for sharing this time with us, Kevin. It's been really eye-opening. How can our viewers here in Malaysia follow you on YouTube and check you out on Instagram?
Well, it's the same name. I took some good advice and I changed all of my social media platforms to the same name because it was a little hard to follow everything. So it is really easy. Just look up Pure Bullfit. And if you guys want free programs, because my programs are free nutritional advice, and I just put together a document of like 21 healthy recipes that you might enjoy. I'm not sure.
Any of it involve curry and gravy?
And flour?
No, I need to expand my horizons. I will definitely look into that. That's all in, if you look at any of my recent videos, there is a Google Drive, and you just click on the Google Drive and you can take whatever you want. It's for you. Give it away. Give it to people. There's no sign up. There's no newsletter. There's none of that crap. So if you guys want to find me there, watch my videos. That's awesome. I appreciate it. But if you get anything out of it, all I want is to hear about it. I live for that stuff. I get people hit me up saying, hey, my bench press went up, or hey, I've lost 50 pounds, or I love that stuff so much. So that's all I want in return.
Really, really cool. Now, for beginners out there, once again, never too late to start, right?
Never.
Start from your bedroom. Start from your bedroom. Step 1, push up. Step 2, sit up. Step 3, check out Pure Bullfit on YouTube. It has about 73 videos over there.
Yes.
Wow, really, really cool.
It's not many.
80,000.
It's not that many, actually. Yeah, that's why I said I could watch them all.
That's why people are like,
many.
People are like, you're just making content. I'm like, okay. Greg Doucette started his channel the same time I did. He has like 500 videos. Yeah, I'm just making content.
Yeah, well, yeah, he sounds like that parrot from Aladdin, so it's kind of hard to follow.
So don't sleep on, I get that, but don't sleep on Greg Doucette. While he and I disagree significantly about the merit of scientific research, he has some of the best outlook on why you should work out. He talks about loving yourself. He talks about having positive self-esteem, how that will not come from the way that you look. Even though I probably can't say I like him, I don't like him, but he does have valuable things to say. He does. And that's a place that we need to be in. We need to be able to say, I don't like this dude, but he's got important things to say.
I did learn the importance of cardio from him, so yeah. I did learn one thing from him.
Some credit, huh? Some credit.
Thank you so much, Kevin, once again for your time here on our live session, and we look forward to having you back again. He'll check in when he hits 100 push-ups.
Yeah, I will.
I'd like to hear that because I can barely
Not
do 100
anytime
push-ups,
soon.
so that's pretty good.
Not anytime soon.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you for your time.
Have a great day ahead, man.
Great day ahead.